1 second here. Alright. Give all thanks and praises to the mighty Most High. AHAYAH, Yasha, Rawach, Qadash. So, we're getting into a study today titled The True Chariots of the Most High. Right, so we're going to be touching on this topic because, you know, in my spirit, I feel it's a very important thing to understand what we're looking for in these days, in these times. And all praises to the Most High. He's given us His word to allow us to find our way. So, you know, as we know that the serpent tries to mimic everything the Most High does. You know, and his job is to try to deceive the children of Israel. You know, and the thing is many will be deceived. Why? Because they'll fall for the snares and these little lies and gimmicks that he uses to exalt himself and to exalt his false sense of power within the earth. So I'm gonna start off here in Isaiah chapter 14, verse 14. All right, Isaiah 14 and 14. You know what, Salakia, I'll start back from verse 12. It says, "How art thou fallen from heaven?" Right, and then it says the name of the serpent. I'm not going to say his name because I'm not going to give him no power on this beautiful Shabbat whatsoever. Right, plus the scriptures tell us not to make mention of any of these so-called God's names. Anyway, how art thou fallen from heaven, O serpent, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of AHAYAH. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Right? So this is showing you that the serpent his agenda is to be like the Most High, or to replace the Most High in the minds of men. And you know, I see that happening a lot within the minds and the conversations of people, especially those that are awoken. And this here is for everyone, but especially Yasharala, the ones that are quote unquote awoke with their eyes open, right? The Bible tells us to test these things. All right. So if we know that the serpent was cast down to the earth, right, and his job is to try to be like the Most High, we have to really pay attention and be very careful in what we run to or what we draw near to in these times. All right. So keep in mind that his agenda is to be like the Most High. Okay, we know that the prophecies talk about Yasha coming back and gathering his people and so forth and waging war against the wicked and you know, utterly destroying the serpent himself. So we're gonna go to Revelation 12 and 9. Right. So we gotta tackle it, man, because in order to identify the truth, we got to cut down the lies, chop down the grass so we can see clear, right? We got to recognize who the enemy is and what his agenda is. And then hopefully, AHAYAH willing, we're able to see what it is that he is putting forth in the minds of people. All right, so now we're in Revelation 12 and 9. It says, and the great dragon was cast out. Cast out of where? Cast out of the heavenly realm. That old serpent, right? Called the devil and the serpent, right? It says, which deceiveth the whole world. This includes Yasharala, right? Because a lot of Yasharala is going to be running towards, you know, we know that in the last days it talks about the chariots coming. This is a very important topic, right? So the question is, how can you tell what are the chariots of the Most High, or are you running towards the chariots of the serpent? If he's looking to make himself like the Most High, everything that the Father does or speaks of, he is going to make an imitation of it. All right. So it says, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. So, you know, a lot of times when we talk about the chariots of the Most High, we also connect those with the angels of the Most High. Well, the serpent was casted to the earth, and so was the angels that followed him. So we have to be very careful in what we draw near to or what we follow after. All right. So keep in mind, he was cast down into the earth, and his angels was cast down with him. All right. So the Most High dwells in the heavenly realm with his angels. Okay. All right. I'm gonna go to Matthew 24 and 24. All right. We got to shine a light on this trickery and put a dynamite stick to it. And I hope that it definitely allows people to see a little clearer when we talk about the chariots of the Most High. All right. So Matthew 24 and 24. And it reads, for there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shew great signs and wonders. Right? So, you got people that are teaching things to the Most High's people that are awoke, that when Christ comes back, they preaching this kind of doctrine about spaceships, UFOs and all kind of stuff, which we know is a part of the New Age agenda, which goes into the aliens and all kind of other stuff, right? But we know that there is celestial beings, and that's what the world calls aliens. You see what I'm saying? So here, what we're reading is, for there shall arise false Christ. So you have people that will try to mimic the Most High, right? Or Salakia, mimic the Son of the Most High. And false prophets. So you'd have people telling you things like, these pieces of metal with circuit boards and all kind of stuff, that those are the chariots of the Most High. But what does the Bible say? Right? It says, and shew great signs and wonders. If you ever look up Project Bluebeam, you see that they're able to use holograms and stuff like that to actually deceive your mind into thinking that you're seeing something that's not really there. Right? Not only that, so when you see stuff talking about showing great signs and wonders, don't run to everything that you see. Test the spirit. Right? It says, in so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. This is the agenda of the serpent. Why? Because he wants to be worshipped. So he would deceive as much as he can and go as hard as he can, as far as he can, to deceive the Most High's people so he can trick them into worshiping him. See? We're going to go to 2 Corinthians 11 and 3. 2 Corinthians 11 and 3. Praise the Most High, man, for these scriptures, because it's a beautiful thing to be able to discern what is what and see much clearer. All right. 2 Corinthians 11 and 3. All right. It says, it reads right here, but I fear lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled means lied to Eve through his subtlety, so your mind should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in the Hamashiach. So why did I go here? Because the serpent is a liar, right? And what we got to keep in mind, when we going through the scriptures, we got to always keep the simplicity and understand the simplicity of Christ, right? If he says the horses are going to be white, the horses are going to be white. If he says that he's coming back with his garments drenched, in blood, that's what it is. If he says his eyes are red like a flame, that's what it is. You know what I mean? It's the simplicity. When we start to complicate and twist, the scriptures say, add not onto his words. But for some reason, especially when you talk about the chariots of the Most High, a lot is being added onto it. Right? People are putting all kind of stuff. Oh, well, it says that the wheel that Ezekiel saw is zigzag. So that means it was a spaceship that's all kind of craziness. Where did you get that from? Right? It gives a clear description of these things. And it's simply explained. Right? Now, how does it operate? Couldn't say. Right? But I know that it's all under the commandment of the Most High. I do know that, and we'll pull up some scriptures on that too. Right? So, you know, we got to be mindful. The serpent is out there trying to trick you into following him. And I pray that it doesn't happen, but you know, through reading the scriptures, you know it's going to happen. There are going to be some of Yasharala that will be walking towards these devices of the serpent, really thinking that they're walking towards the Hamashiach. So I'm putting this out here through the Spirit of the Most High, praying that we look at these things carefully and test the Spirit and understand the Most High does not need technology. He does not need technology. The human body is the most complex organism, period. Way more complex than any computer circuit or anything. Keep that in mind. So when we're talking about the Most High, we are talking about the most creative, innovative power to ever be spoken of. All right. So yeah, be mindful. Where we at here? Let's get Ephesians 5 and 6. I got that to bounce off of this real quick. Let's get Ephesians 5 and 6. All right. Just keep in mind, man, the serpent is very crafty. Okay? When we talk about the Most High sees all, right? It says his eyes are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. He sees everything. He knows everything that's going on. How does the serpent mimic that? He mimics that through technology. The Big Brother system. Cameras everywhere. All kind of stuff. Why? Because the earth is not under his commandments, but technology is. Yeah. So when we're talking about the Most High, understand, the Father does not need technology. He tells the sea, the ocean water not to go past the sand. Does it do it? It does not go past the sand. The only time it goes past the sand is if he gives it a commandment to do so. And when it does so, it'll wipe out whatever comes in its way, which we know as tidal waves and so forth. Right? But those things are commandments by the Most High. That's why the water is a body of water that moves from one end of the earth all the way to the other, and it does not go, it touch the sand and go right back. There's a commandment there. Same thing with the chariots of the Most High. They have a commandment. I have a hard time believing it has a circuit board. For instance, you as a person, what is your circuitry? Right? It all goes back to the Spirit. So we had Ephesians 5 and 6, keeping in mind that the serpent is a liar. It reads here, let no man deceive you with vain words, including anybody that's telling you something about a UFO, right? We can say a UFO. Okay, take that, right? UFO, unidentified flying object, right? Okay. But the way people are putting that in their mind is a piece of metal that looks like Independence Day coming out the sky, right? They see clouds and automatically they're saying that's the smoke from the thrusters. Whoa. Where did you get that from? It says clouds. When I look in the sky and I see a cloud, it's a cloud. It's simplicity in Christ, right? So Ephesians 5 and 6, let no man deceive you with vain words, for because of these things cometh the wrath of AHAYAH upon the children of disobedience, right? We need to be very careful and keep watch like it tells us to do. We have to test the spirit like it tells us to do. If not, you could be walking right into a snare. All right? Let's go to Jeremiah 14 and 14. Jeremiah chapter 14, verse 14. All right? We putting the flashlight on the serpent, man. He can't hide right now. We cutting the grass on him. All right? Jeremiah 14 and 14. It reads, Then the Lord said unto me, the prophets prophesy lies in my name. So you got a lot of people telling people about chariots. Yeah, the chariots, the Bible speaks of chariots, but what does it say about the chariots? Right? The prophets prophesy lies in my name. I sent them not, neither have I commanded them, neither spake unto them. They prophesy unto you a false vision and divination, and a thing of naught, and the deceit of their heart. Why are they telling you about spaceships that the Bible does not describe? It's because that's what they're seeing, which is considered a false vision according to this scripture. All right? So understand, the serpent is using divination, magic tricks, holograms, new age doctrines, all kinds of false understandings to trick you into worshiping him at the end. But it brings calamity if we do it. All right? So we're going to keep it rolling. Let's go to, and I must put this out here too, man. There's another study that I want to do, that I wanted to do actually before this. But, the Spirit allowed me to bring this out today. So I'm going to bring it out. But I do have something that actually attaches to this, which shows beyond a shadow of a doubt that if you are looking for any type of spaceship coming out of the sky, please test the spirit. Test the spirit. These things cannot go past the firmament. The only time that anything is coming through that firmament that will be a live organic material, that will be the vehicle of the Most High, that will be the vehicle of Yasha and his angels, is when the sky cracks. Other than that, that's just something else to add to testing the spirit on this, right? So, Salakia, we're going to go to 1 Corinthians 14 and 33, right? So, don't fall for these false visions that come from the minds of men, right? If the Most High was saying that he's coming on a spaceship, it'll be in the scriptures. He is coming on chariots. It tells you what the chariots look like. And it does not, from what I'm seeing in the scriptures, in my humble opinion, it does not look like all these alien movies that they're showing you. All right? They're programming the people to not only fight what comes out the sky, but to believe that it's going to be a piece of metal with thrusters and everything else. But anyway, we're going to keep going. 1 Corinthians 14 and 33. For AHAYAH is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in the churches, but as of peace as in the churches of the saints. So again, the simplicity attaches with the fact that he is not the author of confusion. Okay? Very straightforward. Let's go to Numbers 23 and 19. I'm trying to set the tone here because we're going to see very clearly the description of the chariots of the Most High. All right? And it's always, as always open to reproof. Okay? If you can show me that it does say in the scriptures, that it has circuitry, electronic circuits and all kind of stuff, man, if that's what it says, praise the Most High. if it doesn't say that, we have to be careful and cast down all imagination. All right. So this is Numbers 23 and 19. It reads, AHAYAH is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. Hath he said, and shall he not do it? Or hath he spoken, and shall he not make it good? So if he says it is, whatever it is that he says it is, that is exactly what it is. It's really that's how it is. Whatever the Most High, he's not the author of confusion, and he is not a man that he should lie. Okay? Let's go to Romans 3 and 4. Romans 3 and 4. Romans 3 and 4. Matter of fact, I'll start from 3. For what if son did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of AHAYAH without effect? God forbid. Yea, let AHAYAH be true and every man a liar, as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings, and mightest overcome when thou art judged. So, let AHAYAH be the truth and every man a liar. Doesn't matter what a person thinks, it matters what is written. And that's all we could go with. Everything else becomes imagination if it's not in this book. Alright? We're going to go to Psalm 147 and 15. Right? So let the Most High be the truth and every man a liar. So let's see what the Most High says about how he set certain things up. Right? Salakia, how he set everything up. Let's see. So Psalm 147 and 15. Right? And it reads, He sendeth forth his commandment upon the earth. His word runneth swiftly. What does that mean? Well, he creates the beach, sand, water. Water don't go past the sand. Water touch the sand, water rolls back to ocean. Commandment. Sun, do your circuit every day around the earth, give light to the earth. Moon, in the nighttime, you shine. Commandment upon the earth, it runs swiftly. Wind, blow, oxygen, man breathe it. Commandment, run swiftly. It's as simple as that, right? Stars, set in the sky, nighttime, you shine. Commandment upon the earth, run swiftly. Same thing about these chariots. There's some things that he speaks about the chariots in the scriptures, right? So verse 15, Psalms 147:15. He sendeth forth his commandment upon the earth. What is this saying? Everything upon the earth that is organic material, even down to a rock, has a commandment. And his word runs swiftly. There is no delay with his word when it is put forth. He giveth snow, verse 16, he giveth snow like wool. He scattereth the hoarfrost like ashes. So when he tells it to snow, it snows, just like ashes in the sky. He casteth forth his ice like morsels. Who can stand before his cold? So he made the ice cold. Commandment. Who can change that? He sendeth out his word and melted them. He causeth the wind, Salaki, he causeth his wind to blow and the waters to flow. Again, he sent forth his commandment upon the earth, his word runneth swiftly. Again, showing that he does not need a circuit board. Okay? He does not need a circuit board. He does not need master codes. Okay? Entry codes and pin numbers. All right. We're talking about the Most High. Why would he need technology to do his will? Please, somebody break that down to me. You know, that's confusion. If everything has a commandment, everything that you see upon the earth is in circuit and in unison with one another, except for man, because they have free will and it's being abused, right? So when we talking about the wind blows oxygen. You take in the oxygen, blow out carbon dioxide. All of this stuff is what the Most High set up to be. So when we're talking about his chariots is no different. Are his chariots organic material, organic live materials that have commandments, or is it technology? Right? Through the scriptures, we're going to continue to build, and we're going to let the scriptures speak. All right? So, we're going to go to 1 John 4:1. We got to provoke one another on the good works. You know, a lot of people probably don't even want to hear this because they already got their mind made up that it's a spaceship, just like what you see on TV. So this is first Salaki. Let me go to, I'm in St. John. Let's go to 1 John 4:1. It says, Salaki, it reads, "Beloved, believe not every spirit." Right? Don't believe me, neither. Read the scripture. That's why we're going through it. Don't believe nobody. Test the spirit. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirit whether they are of AHAYAH, because many false prophets are gone into the world. Okay? Very straightforward. Test the spirit. If it's not in the scripture, then it's imagination. Okay? And that's a dangerous place to be, man. And, it's better to keep what we can show or what we can prove than to be filling in the blanks with our imagination. That's not good works. All right? So, with that said, we're going to go to Ezekiel. Right? Test the spirit. Right? We're going to go to Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 4. All right, we're talking about chariots. Let's see what the chariots look like according to what Ezekiel saw, right? So what I gathered through going through these scriptures is that you're going to get two descriptions of chariots, okay? One is going to be what we're about to read right now, okay? And another is what we're going to read in a little bit. And from what I understand, I don't see any of them relating to technology. These things are alive and they have commandments. So, without further ado, we're going to go to Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 4. Okay? Real fast. Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 4. "And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north." Whirlwind. Do whirlwinds have commandments? Absolutely. A great cloud. Do clouds have commandments? Absolutely. And a fire enfolding itself. So automatically, people start thinking, oh yeah, well that's like when I watch Star Trek, right? And it goes into warp speed, and then it just... So that must be the smoke exploding from it going to warp speed from the thrusters on the plane. Right? Okay. Let's see what it says. Right? "And a bright fire, Salakia, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it. And out of the midst thereof, the color of amber, and out of the midst of the fire. Also out of the midst of the fire came the likeness of 4 living creatures." Oh, well, it says likeness, so that means it looked like it was alive. Okay. Well, we're going to keep on reading, and we're going to find out if it's alive, or if it just looked like it was alive. See, and I like to say things that people might try to say, so that way we could really exhaust this thing all the way, right? Really test the spirit on this thing, right? So it says, also out the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man, right? So a head of a man. And everyone had 4 faces, and everyone had 4 wings, right? So I've never seen a plane with a face, but they'll probably say that's the front of the plane, right? So this plane has four faces, right? So I guess that's where they get the circle UFO thing from, right? A face on each corner, right? I'm just trying to look at both sides of the coin. But as we progress, we're going to see that this thing is 100% alive. And it's not a circuit board made by a mad scientist at NASA. You know what I'm saying? Verse 7. And their feet were straight feet. Right? So they could say those are the wheels, you know, the wheels of the plane. That's their feet. Or do they just have feet? Which one is it? Right? If we're dealing with the simplicity of it, it is exactly what it says. They have feet. But people might put that as, you know, those are the landing wheels or something. Right? Okay. But look at this. Check this out. And their feet were straight feet. Right? But not only that, it says here, and the sole of their feet. So they had a bottom part of their foot too. Right? It was like the sole of a calf's foot. Is a calf alive? And they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. Okay, so now it gives a description of metal. So now the metal that has to be the plane. That's the covering of the plane. Well, I know in the scriptures they talk about the armor, right? Armor actually covers the living thing, right? I know that it talks about having the breastplate of truth and so forth. Salaki if I butcher that, but you know what I'm talking about, right? The armor of the Most High, right? So we all know that metal will be a covering, but even metal comes from a rock. Rocks have commandments too. Anyway, I'll keep going. So we're trying to see if these things, if what we're describing here, what Ezekiel's describing here is alive. And they had the hands of a man under their wings on their 4 sides, right? And therefore, they 4 had their faces and their wings. So this thing not only had feet, but it also had hands. It also has hands. So we got to ask ourselves, what is this? Right? And they 4 had their faces and their wings. Their wings were joined one to another. They turned not when they went. They went everyone straight forward. So it's like going straight forward. Right? And they all went in unison. So it has 4 wings. From, 4 wings. 2 on the top, 2 at the bottom, from what I understand. Right? Automatically, people start putting this into some kind of a UFO or something. Right? Verse 10. As for their likeness of their faces, they had the face of a man, the face of a lion on the right side, and the face of a lion on the right side. And they had the face of an ox on the left side. They 4 also had the face of an eagle. All of these things are living things. Okay? Every last one of them. Now, 1 second here. Okay? Right, so I'm gonna get an instance on this real quick. Matter of fact, I'm going to keep going. Verse 11. Thus were their faces and their wings were stretched upward. 2 wings of every one were joined to another, one to another, and two covered their bodies. So these things had bodies too, right? Okay. So, verse 12. And they went every one straight forward, whither the Spirit was to go. They went, and they turned not when they went. So these things were being commanded by a spirit. Okay? No different from what we read in Psalms 119. Salakia. What was it? Psalms 147. Right? He put his commandment upon the earth and his word runs swiftly. Same thing with these living creatures. Verse 13. As for the likeness of the living creatures, not the plane, which is just a piece of metal that has no soul. As for the likeness of the living creature, their appearance was like burning coals of fire, and the appearance of lamps. It went up and down among the living creatures, and the fire was bright, and out of the fire went forth lightning. So these living creatures moving so fast that lightning goes behind them. So just like Star Trek, warp speed, a stream of light behind it. It gotta be a spaceship. All right. Let's forget that it says it's a living creature. Let's not even look at that. It's a spaceship. Verse 14. And the living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. Right? Now as I beheld the living creatures, again, it keeps telling you it's a living creature. Behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creature with his four faces. The appearance of the wheels and the work was like the color of a beryl, and they four had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. So I'm going to pause there for a second, all right? And I'm going to go into... I'm still in Ezekiel, but hold that, right? We're going to come back to verse 16. We're going to go to Ezekiel chapter 10, right? And we're going to go at verse 15. Matter of fact, we go to verse 13. Ezekiel 10 and 13. All right? Ezekiel 10 and 13, and it reads, As for the wheels, it was cried unto them in my hearing, O wheel. Verse 14. And everyone had four faces. The first face was as the face of a cherub. A cherub is an angel. And the second face was the face of a man. And the third, the face of a lion. And the fourth, the face of an eagle. Verse 15. And the cherubims were lifted up. This is the living creature that I saw by the river of Chebar. So he's telling you very clearly that the things that was driving this vehicle, that were moving the vehicle, that was underneath the platform of the vehicle, were cherubims. So what is the platform of the vehicle? What was the platform of this chariot? Right? So if the cherubims is what's moving it, right? At the bottom of it, what was the platform? Was it metal? Was it some kind of high-tech metal that we don't know about? You know, was it adamantium like Wolverine's claws? What was it? Right? Was it organic? Let's see. Right? But I came here to show that those things that were moving this chariot were angels. It says right there. They're cherubims. Okay? Verse 16, and when the cherubims went, the wheels went by them. And when the cherubims lifted up their wings, again showing you that what it was telling you, no, it wasn't cherubims inside of a vehicle. The cherubims were the vehicle. And they're holding a platform above them. It says here, and when the cherubims went, the wheels went by them. And when the cherubims lifted up their wings to mount up from the earth, the same wheels also turned not from beside them. Going back to Ezekiel 1, and we're at verse 17. Matter of fact, I'll read 16 again, just so we can see that those cherubims are alive. And they are living creatures. It's not a space shuttle. Verse 16. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of beryl, and they four had one likeness. Their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. And when they went upon their four sides, and they turned not when they went. As for their rings, they were so high that they were dreadful. And their rings were full of eyes round about them four. So, if we're talking about the simplicity of the scriptures, he says that these things are living creatures. The wheels are alive too. They have eyes. So what's going on with our people that are seeking out the chariots? They're saying those eyes might be lights, flashing lights or headlights. That's what it is. They're headlights. Why they just can't be eyes? Why do they have to be anything but what it says it is? Verse 19. When the living creatures went, the wheels went by them. And when the living creatures, which we know, according to verse 10, which is the same guy who wrote verse 1, they were cherubims. And when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. Whithersoever the spirit was to go, given by a commandment, right? The commandment was coming from this spirit. They went thither. Was their spirit to go, thither was their spirit to go. So these things had a spirit too. And the wheels were lifted up against them. And the spirit of the living creature was inside the wheels. So the spirit of the cherubims was also inside of the wheels that had eyes. These things were alive. And they had a commandment. Verse 21. When they went, these went. And when those stood, these stood. And when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up over against them. For the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. He's telling you again. Verse 22. And the likeness of the firmament was upon the heads of the living creature. So, what was the platform is what I was asking earlier, right? Is it a sheet of metal? Like the spaceships that go out of space from NASA and so allegedly? Or was it organic material? The firmament is organic material. It tells you in the scriptures the Most High stretched out the firmament or the heavens as a bow. Right? And under the firmament, so the cherubims are under the firmament. So they're holding up the platform. The platform is the firmament. And their wings straight. And under the firmament were their wings straight. The one towards the other. Salakia. Let me go back to 22. And their likeness of the firmament upon their heads of the living creature was as the color of the terrible crystal. So firmament is a crystal. It's a crystal barrier that keeps the water from the water, according to Genesis 1. That's why the sky is blue. There is a firmament that is of crystal, like crystal, that separates the water in the sky above the firmament. There is water up there. That's why the Bible refers it to as the windows of heaven. Windows are like crystal. So is the firmament. Organic. Okay? Terrible crystal stretched forth over their heads above. Verse 23. And under the firmament were the wings straight, the one towards the other. Everyone had two, which covered one on this side, and everyone had two, which covered on that side, their bodies. Okay, their bodies. Verse 24. And when they went, I heard the noise of their wings and the noise of great waters, as the voice of the Almighty, the voice of speech, as the noise of an host. When they stood, they let down their wings. Verse 25. And there was a voice from the firmament. So above the firmament, a voice was coming from there. Psalms 145. Commandment. Right? He's given a commandment. And there was a voice from the firmament that was over their heads when they stood and let down their wings. Okay? I'm going to keep going. Verse 26. And above the firmament was over their heads was the likeness of a throne, as the appearance of a sapphire stone. None of this stuff sounds like a spaceship. Okay? The chariots of the Most High is very much alive with commandments. And above the firmament that was over their heads was the likeness of a throne, as the appearance of a sapphire stone. And upon the likeness of the throne was the likeness of the appearance of a man upon it. Right? A man upon it. And I saw as the color of amber, as the appearance of the fire round about within it, from the appearance of his loins even upward, and from the appearance of his loins even downward. I saw as it was the appearance of fire, and it had brightness round about. The appearance of the bow that is in the cloud. Okay, cloud. Does a cloud have a commandment? Absolutely. Do a rainbow, right? When it says the bow, it's talking about a rainbow above the throne. It says that is in the cloud in the day of rain. So was the appearance of the brightness round about. There was the appearance of the likeness of the glory of the Lord. And when I saw it, I fell upon my face, and I heard the voice of one that spake. What did he speak? He spoke commandments. Right? I'm going to keep going. I don't know how they got a Star Trek Enterprise from that. That's alive. That's alive. Right? Let's go to Deuteronomy 33:2. Right? It tells you there's nothing new under the sun. So, if we talking about the chariots of the Most High back then, right? What is it going to be when he returns? I'll give you, this is such a beautiful scripture because it's going to show what it was in the day of Moses. This is before Ezekiel. Let's see what it was then. Deuteronomy 33 and 2. All right, 33 and 2. It reads, and he said, the Lord came from Sinai and rose up from Seir unto them. He shined forth from Mount Paran, and he came with 10,000 of his saints. Did they come in 10 UFOs? Let's see. From his right hand went a fiery law for them. So when his saints move, they move from a commandment. So whatever they're moving on, it has a commandment too. Verse 3. Yea, he loved the people. All his saints are in thy hand. And they sat down at thy feet. Everyone shall receive of thy words. Right? So these saints that were moving, right, in the days of Moses, this was taking part in the days of Moses. What were they riding on? Right? What did they come on? What were their vehicles? We got one example in Ezekiel, right? That's one form of the chariots, right? But as we progress, you'll see more, right? So right now we're dealing with the Most High's chariots. And I'm going to show also that the serpent has chariots too. And we're going to bring it out. We're going to bring it out, right? So We're going to go to Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha 48 and 9. Sirach in the Apocrypha 48 and 9. All right. Just pour me some water, please. Sirach 48 and 9. Right? It reads right here. Who was taken up in a whirlwind of fire and in a chariot of fiery horses? Right? Horses. What? So what's going on there? Right? Thank you. Right? Fiery horses. Do whirlwinds have a commandment? Right? If the Most High tells a hurricane to hit an area, will it happen? Right? A whirlwind of fire. When he rained fire and brimstone on Sodom and Gomorrah, was that a commandment from the Most High? Right? In a chariot of fiery horses. So, when we talking about horses, are horses UFOs? Are those spaceships? Or are those living creatures with a commandment? Right? You gotta test the spirit on these things. We're gonna go, let's go to 2 Kings. Right? 2 Kings. Because there's something taking part right now. Right? The serpent wants to keep people from really acknowledging the Most High and His glory when He comes. He wants them to be deceived, right? But what we're going to show right here, all praises to the Most High, is that people can be blinded to the Most High's chariots. And we're going to get it right now. People can be blinded to the Most High's chariots. And we're going to read it in the scriptures. So we're in 2 Kings chapter 6, verse 1. All right, 2 Kings 6 and 1. All right. Again, title of this study, The True Chariots of the Most High. People can be blinded to the Most High's chariots. Let's get it. 2 Kings chapter 6, verse 1. And the sons of the prophet said unto Elisha, Behold, now the place where we dwell with thee is too straight for us. Let us go, we pray thee, unto Jordan, and take thence every man a beam, and let us make us a place there where we may dwell. And he answered, Salakia, Go ye. And one said, Be content, I pray thee, and go with thy servants. And he answered, I will go. So he went with them, and when they came to Jordan, they cut down wood. But as one was felling a beam, the axe head fell into the water, and he cried and said, Alas, master, for it was borrowed. And the man of AHAYAH said, Where fell it? And he shewed him the place, and he cut down a stick and cast it in thither, and the iron did swim. Therefore, said he, Take it up to thee. And he put out his hand and took it. And the king of Syria warred against Israel, and took counsel with his servants, saying, In such and such a place shall be my camp. Okay? So they're warring against Israel. Okay? Now keep in mind, what you're going to see here is that people can be blinded to the Most High's chariots. And the man of AHAYAH sent unto the king of Israel, saying, Beware that thou pass not such a place, for thither the Syrians are come down. And the king of Israel sent to the place which the man of AHAYAH told him, and warned him of, and saved him there, not once nor twice. Therefore the heart of the king of Syria was sore troubled for this thing. And he called his servants and said unto them, Will ye not show me which of us is for the king of Israel? And one of his servants said, None, my lord, O king, but Elisha the prophet, that is in Israel, telleth the king of Israel the words that thou speakest in thy bedchamber. And when he said, Go and spy where he is, that I may send and fetch him. And it was told him, Behold, he is in Dothan. Therefore sent he thither horses and chariots, and a great host. And they came by night and compassed the city about. Right? So they compassed the city, right? With their horses and chariots. Let's see what happens. And when the servant of the man of AHAYAH was risen early and gone forth, behold, a host compassed the city, both with horses and chariots. And his servant said unto him, Alas, my master, how shall we do? And he answered, Fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them. Right? So he's not seeing what's going on here. Right? It says, Salakia, verse 17, And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha. Right? So this is showing that the brother couldn't even see the chariots of the Most High because he was blinded to it. Until Elisha prayed for the Most High for him to see it. I pray that the brothers and sisters see that these chariots of the Most High are organic, live things. Okay? Live things. I'm going to keep going. 1 second here. 1 second. Oh, yeah. I'm going to stop right there. Right? So, he prayed and the Most High opened up his eyes to allow him to see the chariots of the Most High. Right? And I hope that after this study it becomes a lot more clear, because I'm also show the chariots of the serpent. All right. So we're going to go to Revelations 19 and 11. The Most High gives clear descriptions time and time again of his chariots. Okay? Of his chariots. Revelations 19 and 11. All right. It reads, And I saw heaven opened up, and behold, a white horse. A white horse. Not a white Star Trek Enterprise. A white horse. Okay? A live, living thing. And he sat upon him, and was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he doeth judge and make war. Right? Let me keep going. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed in a vesture dipped in blood. And his name is called the Word of AHAYAH. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon what? Upon white horses. These are chariots as well. These are chariots as well. White horses, clothed in fine linen. White and clean. And if you look up the word horses, there's something very interesting that you see with that word. Right? When you look up the word horses, there's something that also attached with that word that's comes up as swallow. Right? SWALLOW. So, you could be like, well, horses don't fly. That got to be a metaphor, right? Well, it says horses. Who am I to add to the Most High's word? When you look up horses in the concordance, it says swallow. Swallow is actually known for how it takes flight. Yeah. Right? So if the Most High is coming from the clouds upon horses, quick question for those who don't believe that they're horses, just like the Bible says, right? For God is not a man that he shall lie. What makes it so hard to believe that it is a horse? if the Most High can basically raise up stones to be the children of Israel, why can he not make a horse come from the sky upon a cloud? It's a question. Notice all these things that he describes are living things with commandments. All right. Revelation 19 and 14. And armies were in heaven followed him upon white horses. We can't add nothing to that, man. It's straightforward. Clothed in fine linen. You gonna change that to cotton? You know what I mean? With white and clean. White and clean. Salaki. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. He treadeth the winepress of fierceness and wrath of almighty power. And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And I saw an angel standing in the sun. And he cried with a loud voice, saying, to all the fowls of the sky, in the midst of the heaven, come and gather yourselves together onto the supper of the great power. So the angel given a commandment by the Most High is given a commandment to these birds in the sky too. Notice that commandments go out. The word go out and the earth responds. Verse 18. That ye may eat the flesh of kings and the flesh of captains and the flesh of mighty men and the flesh of horses and of them that sit on them and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. So a commandment goes out for these birds to eat the flesh of men. Right? I'm gonna keep going. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse. Right? Again, sat on a horse. And against his army. And the beast was taken with him, the false prophet, that wrought miracles before him. Right? So, of course, the serpent is going to try to get you to think that these different devices are true things. Right? Those are some of the miracles that the serpent is going to be trying to put upon man in their eyes to get them deceived. Why do you think that technology is booming so much? What position does technology play in the last days? Right? Salaki. Before him with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. Understand? You think he's going to be giving you some kind of spaceship for no reason? It's to worship his image. Right? These both were cast alive into the lake of fire, burning with fire and brimstone. Watch this. And the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse. It keeps telling you he's sitting on a horse, which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh. Very straightforward, right? His army is on white horses. I don't know how that, ends up being bent into something else. Let's get more, right? Revelations 19 and 15. Revelation 19 and 15. Salakia, 9 and 15. Sorry. Revelation 9 and 15. And 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slain the third part of men. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 2,000. And I heard the number of them. Right? Keep going. Let's go to Psalm 68 and 17. Psalm 68 and 17. Psalm 68 and 17. 1 second. Psalm 68 and 17. Here we go right here. The chariots of AHAYAH are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them as in Sinai in the holy place. We read that in Deuteronomy 33 in the days of Moses. All right. So the chariots of the Most High are angels. What are they riding on? We already read that time and time again. We just read it in Revelation. They ride upon horses, according to the scriptures. Okay? Not according to me. Let's go to Ezekiel 23 and 22. Because I'm going to show right now through the Spirit of the Most High that even the serpent has his chariots. And we have to be mindful of that and be careful. Be careful. Right? So we're going to go to Ezekiel 23 and 22. All right. Ezekiel 23 and 22, and it reads, Therefore, O Aholibah, thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will raise up thy lovers against thee, from whom thy mind is alienated, and I will bring them against thee up on every side. The Babylonians and the Chaldeans, Pekod and Shoah and Koah, and all the Assyrians with them, all of them desirable young men, captains, rulers, great lords, and renowned, and all of them riding upon horses. Right? So now, when you see right here, it's talking about the young men and stuff like that. These are soldiers and so forth, right? But look how when we talking about it says and renowned, and all of them riding upon horses, you know, prophetically, this here would be extremely symbolic of the serpent's technology, right? So now it'll be like, well, we talking about the Most High, right? I have a hard time believing that the Most High needs technology, but the serpent does need technology, right? So now, if this is talking about the serpent's army, his captains, rulers, and lords and so forth, and renowned riding upon horses, what is that talking about, right? So if the Most High uses organic things that have commandments, what would the serpent's army use? They would use technology, right? Things like, you know, when you look at a vehicle, a car, right? They tell you how fast a car is by what? By horsepower, right? Just throwing it out there, right? Let the truth be the truth. So what I'm showing right now is a distinction between the organic material that the Most High uses and the technology that the serpent uses. I'm going to keep going. And they shall come against thee with chariots, right? So these would be the serpent's chariots, which would be your so-called spaceships and all kind of other crap, right? They're fighter jets and all of those things. Those are the serpent's chariots, right? Wagons and wheels, right? These are the wagons. What would be the wagon today? It'll be like a tank and all of that stuff, right? And wheels, and with assembly of people, which shall set against thee buckler and shield and helmet round about. And I will set judgment before them, and they shall judge thee according to their judgments. So when you're talking about here, you're talking about the FEMA camps, all of this stuff. The serpent has his army. The Most High has his army. His army is coming on horses from the clouds, right? This guy's army is actually these technological things. That's why they got antimatter weapons. That's technology. They got fighter jets, technology, all of this stuff. You know, that's what he has to use to put his influence of power in the earth. The Most High doesn't need that, right? I'm gonna keep going. And I will set, verse 25, and I will set my jealousy against thee, and they shall deal furiously with thee. So this is your UN armies and the FEMA camps and all of this stuff that's coming against the people in these last days. And I will set my jealousy against thee, and they shall deal furiously with thee. They shall take away thy nose, and thine ears, and thy remnant shall fall by the sword. And they shall take thy sons and thy daughters. You got a lot of people that will be running towards the serpent's chariots, thinking it's the Most High. And they'll be running right into the arms of the serpent's army. And that's when, it talks about 2/3 of Yasharala being destroyed. You got a lot of people that believe in UFOs and all kind of stuff, but they won't believe that Christ is coming on a horse, just like it say. Why, when I see horses that's pertaining to the serpent's military, why do I pertain that to the technology? It's because that's how he exalts his power. Through technology. Through the cameras on every block. Right? Through NASA and these false flights that they saying they doing. Right? Through your telephones. GPS systems. You tell the Most High need a GPS? Come on. So yeah, I do make a distinction between the two, because the Most High doesn't need technology. Everything is under his commandment. The serpent does not have those things. That's why he needs a harp system to try to mimic or force artificial disasters. You see what I'm saying? But I'm going to keep going. Verse 25, and I will set my jealousy against thee. Right? It's talking about the children of Israel that he is right here. The Most High's jealousy will be against you. Right? Against us if we do contrary to what he says. And they shall deal furiously with thee. They shall take away thy nose and thine ears. And thy remnant shall fall by the sword. So your senses ain't even going to work right no more. Right? You're going to be all off. They shall take thy sons and thy daughters, and the residue shall be devoured by fire. You look into what happened in the first Holocaust, in the Holocaust done by Hitler, and see what was going on there. Gas chambers, all of that stuff, right? Don't run to the serpent's chariots, man. Verse 26, they shall also strip thee out of thy clothes. What do? Right? In these FEMA camps, they strip you out of the clothes that you have on and put you in prison garments, right? They shall also strip thee out of thy clothes and take away thy fair jewels. In 2nd Esdras, chapter 16, it talks about the serpent's armies going into people's houses with the sword, right? And what are they doing there? They remove you out your house. They robbing you of all your goods. Verse 27, thus will I make thy lewdness to cease from thee, and thy whoredom brought from the land of Egypt, so that thou shalt not lift up thine eyes onto them, nor remember Egypt anymore. He's also talking about, the so-called Pan-Africans and all of that, right? That are really Israel that don't want to receive it, right? Their strength is in Egypt, right? But what's going to happen is that these FEMA camps and all of that stuff that's under the power of the serpent, he's going to cause you to really despise this stuff even more than you thought. Right? Why you thinking that you are part that you are part of Egypt. You are Egypt and all of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? All this Kemet and all this other stuff. But I'm going to keep going. Verse 28. For thus saith the Lord, AHAYAH, behold, I will deliver thee into the hand of them who thou hatest. Right? You hear these Israelites that don't know they're Israelites, right? That's into Kemet and all of that stuff. They talk about the white man this, the white man that, right? You hate them so much, right? But you still, the Most High is going to deliver these same people into their hands. For thus saith the Lord, AHAYAH, behold, I will deliver thee into the hand of them whom thou hatest, into the hand of them from whom thy mind is alienated. And they shall deal with thee hatefully, and shall take away all thy labors. Right? So you got your fast car and all this money, beautiful job and all that stuff, and shall leave thee naked and bare. Why? Because them FEMA camps is right there, man. You hear about abductions and all of that stuff. What you think is going to be happening with these, with the serpent's chariots? Yeah, they're going to be abducting you, but not in your dream, physically. Physically. Right? And the nakedness of thy whoredoms shall be discovered, both thy lewdness and thy whoredoms. I will do these things unto thee, because thou hast gone a whoring after the heathen. What do you get from this? For me, what I gather with this is running after their technology. Running after their technology. Running after the serpent's latest device. You know what I'm saying? Everything new come out. We got to keep on buying the latest technology every time. Right? You got people that, you know, every time a new phone come out, they sell the last one they had just to get another one. Just to stay more enhanced with Big Brother. Right? Stay close, right? You got to look at this thing, man. This technology stuff is a trip. It's a trip. And it's a form of idolatry too. Whether or not they want to see it, it is. How much people cherish these new gadgets that come out every time. Right? Cherish it. Oh, the new iPhone 22 is coming out. I got to go sell the 21. You know what I mean? I'm going to go trade it in real quick. Get that new one. So I can make sure that, you know what I'm saying, they can watch me through my cell phone and tap into my phone anytime they want. So, you know, the serpent could feel like he got power. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's the whoredoms that it's talking about as well. Right? Right? Also attaching yourself to Egypt. This is Egypt. Sodom and Egypt, according to the scriptures. Verse 30, I will do these things unto thee, because thou hast gone a whoring after the heathen, and because thou art polluted with their idols, polluted with their technology. Right? They tell you to buy the new iPhone watch. You're going to go cop it tomorrow. Yeah. Serpent has his chariots, man. We're going to stay in Ezekiel. Right? We're going to get another example of the serpent's chariots coming against the children of Israel. And watch how it describes it. Right? Pay attention to how it describes it in the Bible. Let's go to Ezekiel 38 and 3. And then after that, I got 2 more scriptures after this. And, you know, we'll open up the line for questions and comments. All right, so Ezekiel 38 and 3. It talks about the army of Gog. Now, I don't get too big into, you know, who is who and all that stuff, because I know that Luke 8 and 17 says there's nothing hidden that should not be made manifest. However, I do have brothers that have put out what the Most High has revealed to them as far as who these people are and so forth, right? So I'm going to just continue to read it. Just know that they are a part of the serpent's army. Let's just keep it there for conversation's sake. All right? But we also know in Revelations, in the last book, I believe it's chapter 21, where it talks about Gog and Magog being tossed into the lake as well, with the false prophet and the serpent. So we know that it is pertaining to the army that is attached to the serpent as well. So, Ezekiel 38 and 3. And it reads, and say, thus saith the Lord, our power. Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. And I will turn thee back and pull hooks into thy jaw, and I will bring thee forth, and all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor. So now keep in mind, when you look in the concordance at horses right here, the word swallow comes up, right? Now we know that this is prophetic, right? This is prophecy. So if this is prophetic, it's one of two things, right? Either the serpent is coming on literal horses, or it's talking about the technology that the serpent is using to exalt his power as God with a little g upon the earth. Okay? Technology is not advancing for no reason. Okay? It's advancing because that is the only power that the serpent has. He does not have control over organic material unless you give it to him. Okay? So, from my understanding and what I gather with these scriptures, when you look up the word horses, you will see also it talks about swallow. S-W-A-L-L-O-W. And that it talks about the flight of a swallow. So, when you're talking about horses prophetically, when you're speaking of the serpent's army, I am inclined to believe that it's speaking of his aircrafts and so forth. Okay? Horses and horsemen, and all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. What's the modern day sword? We already know. It'll be firearms, right? Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them. All of them and the shields and helmets. All of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, and the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. So this is what I'm seeing here is the serpent's armies. Okay? When you read in the scriptures, talk about the valley of Jehoshaphat. People look at these military forces, and a lot of times they're not realizing that it doesn't matter what country they're in. These are all forces of the serpent. That's why they'll all be heaped up in the valley of Jehoshaphat when Yasha returns. You see what I'm saying? So anybody got family members that's in the military, it'll be good to try to convince them to come out. Just putting it out there. Verse 7, Ezekiel 38:7. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou on guard unto them. After many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste. But it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely of them. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. He's talking about this military force, right? They shall ascend, means going up, and come like a storm, right? It says, thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land. Okay? So when I look at Independence Day and I see this big hunk of metal with thrusters covering up the sky like a cloud, that's what I'm seeing when it's talking about the serpent's army. Okay? That's what I see here. It says, thou and all thy bands and many people with thee. So they're going to be many different military forces with them. Right? All gathered up together. Thus saith the Lord, AHAYAH. It shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of all unwalled villages. What is the land of unwalled villages? Now we're talking about the serpent's military. The land of unwalled villages will be the wilderness of the people. Okay? The wilderness. The wilderness will be the unwalled villages. So they will be coming with their military forces to come against the children of Israel in these unwalled villages. Right? The wilderness. I will go to them that are at rest. Who is that? That's the children of Israel. That dwell safely. Why will they dwell safely? Because according to Zechariah 2:5, it tells you very clearly that Hamashiach will be a wall of fire round about, protecting us. Right? But it would not have no plaster walls or no tall buildings, but his hedge will be around us. That's why we'll be dwelling safely. Right? So I'm going to read that again, verse 11. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely. This is what God is saying, right? All them that dwell them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates, to take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations. What people will be gathered out of the nations? The Israelites, which have gotten cattle and goods that dwell in the midst of the land. So the question is, how do they come out of the cities into the wilderness and have cattle and all this stuff? It tells you in Second Esdras, the stuff that Salaki, it might not be Second Esdras. There's a scripture in the Apocrypha that talks about everything that these other nations are stacking up. They're stacking up for the children of Israel to take. Yeah. Everything, their bunkers and all that is going to belong to us. Okay? But what I'm showing here, when it talks about the horses of Gog, which is in league with the serpent, and I'm going to get it just for conversation's sake, and just so that way it's very clear that Gog is not rocking with the Most High. Let me get it real quick. 1 second. All right. So right here, Revelation 20:8, right? And this is a bonus. I wasn't even going to, this is not even in the study, but I'm going to just bring it out just for edification's sake, just to show that God plays a major role in the last war. And in this last war, there's going to be all kind of stuff that the serpent is going to be pushing out there. And he is going to have his chariots in the sky. Yeah. We're going to be seeing technology that we have never seen. And those are going to be the miracles that he can do. What other miracles could he possibly do besides use things that are technology bound, that gives the thought or the imagination that this is real? Why do you think now they're coming out with the S8 virtual reality glasses? They're getting you geared up to believe a lie. Right? So right here, Revelation 20:8, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. We just read that in Ezekiel. And we also read that he's going to have his horsemen. So if this is in Revelations 20, and the serpent is trying to exalt itself as the Most High, but the earth itself, when I say the earth itself, I'm talking about the water, the sand, the cloud, the sky, even the people. He has no influence over unless you allow him to. And he cannot take over the earth itself, but he can take over the minds of the people. That's why he's pushing the Samsung Galaxy S8 virtual reality glasses. That's why he has Project Bluebeam to give you a hologram to make you think that what you're seeing is real. That's why they're talking about spaceships when Christ said he's coming on a cloud. Right? There's a difference. They're not the same. No, they're not. So yes, I did make a big difference between the horses of the serpent and the horses of the Most High. Why? Because even with the chariot that Ezekiel saw, that was all organic material. If the Messiah say he's coming on a cloud, why would I think he's coming on anything different? Now, when it comes to the serpent, I understand. He cannot tell the water to do whatever it wants. He has to put some kind of detonator under the ocean to make a tidal wave. He has to create things like HARP and spray chemtrails, which is heavy metals in the air, to create false conditions that seem like natural disasters. Yeah. So of course he needs technology. It's a big difference. And I pray that this is received. But long story short, I just wanted to make the connection with Gog in Ezekiel and Gog in Revelation to show that it's talking about a military force, a military army that we know has high technology weapons and all kind of things that will blow your mind. So when we're talking about the true chariots of the Most High, I am inclined to believe that they are all alive. They are all organic. If it's a cloud, it's a cloud. When we're talking about the Most High and his Son and his angels. But when we're talking about the serpent who was casted to the earth with his angels, just like we read in the opening scriptures, he needs technology. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. So I am making a clear distinction between the two. So I got two more scriptures, and I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to go to Psalm 119 and 105. Right? We say that we trying to be led in the Spirit. Well, let's let the Spirit lead us. All right? Let God be the truth and every man a liar. Right? If we're going to be led by the Spirit, let's be led by the Spirit. But don't be deceived. Don't be naive. Remember, the serpent was casted down. So we're in Psalms 119 and 105. And this is how I'm just putting it out there in love and sincerity. I pray that this is how we operate. Right? Let the word lead us. Right? Yasha is the word. Let him lead us. Let the scriptures speak. Right? Psalms 119 and 105. Thy word is a lamp. Salaki. I'm going to go back one more. I love this scripture. I'm going to go back one more. I'm going to go back. Psalms 119 and 104. And that's how I know this is the Spirit, because in reality, I meant to get this scripture and actually put it in the study. And I forgot. But all praises to the Most High. I go to 105, and 104 is the one that I wanted to go and put in here too. So we're going to get it. Right? Matter of fact, yeah, we're going to start from 104. Through thy precepts, I get understanding. Therefore, I hate every false way. Verse 105. Thy word, this is how we should find our way back to the Messiah. By the word. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. So we want to find our way back to the Messiah. Let's deal with what he says. Let's deal with what he said happened. Right? And I got one more scripture after this, but I do want to bounce this off of y'all real quick. I remember one time me and a couple of brothers was out on the street preaching, man. And I was talking with this brother, man, and reasoning with him on the scriptures. Talk to him about Noah's Ark. And I'm going to show you how this new age has got people so programmed that they can't even see what's really going on. Right? They're blinded to the Most High's chariots. Okay? All they see is technology, so that's all they understand is technology. I was talking to this brother about the Bible, and we ended up speaking about Noah's Ark. And through the simplicity of the scriptures and just looking at what it says, I was talking to him about it, and he had a hard time believing that the ark was a boat. He said the ark was a spaceship. Okay? Not only did he say the ark was a spaceship, the brother said, well, how could all of these animals fit into the ark? Right? So then he started to go in to tell me that the ark was a spaceship, and he believes that what Noah had was vials of DNA of each animal to fit on the boat. Now that's crazy to me, right? Because if you look into the scriptures, you look into the history, you look into the findings, the archaeological findings, they have actually found what they believe to be Noah's Ark. And it looks just like a boat. Not no spaceship, with all kind of other stuff, and it's a very big boat, right? We see some of these animals today, and you got to ask yourself, with some of these animals, how did some of these animals come about, right? Because they are hybrid animals too, just like there's hybrid food. So I would lay this question before the brothers and sisters. How did those animals come about? What kind of sorcery brought forth those animals? Right? Would it be technology? Right? There's a lot of things that, I'd like to talk about right now. But the serpent, he is working and really trying to deceive a lot of people, man. And I really pray that brothers and sisters allow the word to be their lamp. Let the word direct you to the Most High, and not the ideas of a man. Not the ideas of a man that told another man something about a circuit board and got you believing that the Hamashiach is coming on a space shuttle. I showed two types of, actually 3 types of chariots. You got the chariot in Ezekiel, right? You got the chariot that Yasha is coming back on, right? With his saints, 10,000s of his saints, right? Thousands of his saints. And then you got the chariots of the serpent, right? Which in Ezekiel 38 talks about, it being like a cloud. We know it's the serpent's chariot because it's talking about Gog, which according to Revelation, Gog is going to get destroyed with the serpent. So they're one and the same. They on the same team. So last but not least, I want to leave off with this scripture right here. This is Revelation. Revelation 1 and 7. Revelation 1 and 7. When we talking about the true chariots of the Most High, this sums it up right here. All right. So, Revelations 1 and 7. It reads, "Behold, he cometh with clouds." Let's keep the simplicity. He cometh with clouds. Why with clouds? Because he has commandments over that. "And every eye shall see him." Right? Now, I do want to put this. I want to put this on your mind because I got a follow-up study to this that AHAYAH will and I'll bring out soon. But my question is, and it's a question, just to invoke your thoughts. How can every eye see him on a globe? Anyway, I'm gonna get back to Revelation 1 and 7. You know what I mean? But keep that on your mind and think about that. But anyway, behold, and I firmly believe that this is absolutely true. So I'm not in no way saying that every eye will not see him. I'm saying, how can they see him on a globe? Just putting that out there. But anyway, behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so be it. So all kindreds of the earth shall wail, right? All kindreds. So he's coming on a cloud, right? In Jude 1 and 14, right, tells you that he's coming with 10,000 of his saints. So if he's coming on a cloud, what are they coming on? Right? So the Most High's army deal with organic things because the Most High has commandments over these things. And, he's put his word forward upon the earth, and his word runs swiftly. So that does not exclude anything that's within the earth. All right. So with that, I want to say Shabbat Shalom. Anybody have any questions or comments, please push 5-star. But I also do want to put this out there for all those on Periscope. Feel free to check out the Servants of Scattered Sheep page on YouTube. Click subscribe. There's a lot of good studies on there. We also have the conference call on Fridays and Friday and Saturdays. The number is 302-202-1110, and the code is 702-706. With that, I want to wish you a higher speed and Shabbat